Hello, everyone. My name's Coach Kathy Richardson, and I've lost 150 pounds, and I'm here to help you with your weight loss goals. Now, sometimes I like to do a little video that I record some answers to some questions that I receive on my Facebook group. If you're not part of my group yet, please go to Facebook and check out Down 150 Pounds with Coach Kathy Richardson. And then you can join in on all of these Q&As as well. It's a great little community with lots of support. So let's get right into it. I have 10 questions that I've written down from some group members, and I'll just answer to the best of my abilities and hopefully you enjoy. Also, if you enjoy seeing my content and you'd like to see more of it, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss when we go live or when I have another video to share with you. So first, we're going to start with question number 1 from Laura. And she says, what are some good snacks or treat ideas besides protein bars? Now, Laura, I'm glad you brought this up because I've seen a lot of snacks being shared in the group lately, and it's probably because I did do a protein bar review video too, but I don't want us to rely on those every single day, multiple times a day. They absolutely can, even with good-ish macros and good-ish ingredients, become a crutch and can replace the best source of protein, which is meat. And so my solution to your question is, if hunger is the problem, protein is the solution. And so I want you to reach for the highest quality meat that you can afford or that you have available to you. That's always going to be the best snack. That's always going to be the best meal. And honestly, if you're really getting good quality meals with good quality amounts of protein, you're not even going to want those snacks so much, especially the further along into this journey you go. But in addition to that, and if you're in a hurry or you're just looking to grab something quickly at the store, go for a good quality Greek yogurt. Maybe make some buffalo chicken dip with some veggies. A smoothie that's low in sugar and high in protein is always another great option. Or making one of my high protein lattes. Check out some previous videos and I'll show you how that was done. Or even go for some berries with whipped cream or make a delicious dip with some Greek yogurt and some protein powder stirred in and dip your berries in that. So meat's always the best, but there are a few other options and hope that helps. Now, Jeannie wants to know how much weight loss is expected every 30 days or so. And I actually get asked this a lot. My journey of losing 150 pounds has taken almost 4 years. So it's not fast. And remember, guys, I always say if it's fast, it doesn't last. Slow is the way to go. And because of that, you know, the experts are going to tell you that average is 0.5 pounds a week to up to 2 pounds a week. And I'll tell you, look, if I'd lost 2 pounds a week along my journey, it would have taken half the amount of time. I definitely was a slow loser. And even with a significant amount of weight to lose. So this is a very personalized question with a very personalized answer. It's absolutely going to come down to how old you are. What is your gender? What is your activity level? What diet are you doing? How long have you been dieting and what is your diet history? You know, did you blow your metabolism to smithereens by yo-yo dieting your whole life? What's your metabolic health like? What's your sleep patterns like? Are you in menopause, peri, pre, post menopause? So there's a lot that factors into that, but just know your best success from weight loss will come with time and consistency, regardless of what those other factors are. And so Kim kind of hopped in on that question and she said, can exercise kind of affect this? And or it seems like when I exercise, my weight goes up or something to that effect. Sorry if I'm not quoting you exactly, Kim. But it's very common and actually expected for the weight to go up when you first start exercising, but not because of why you think. Immediately, whenever anybody in one of these Facebook groups says, OMG, I just started exercising and the scale went up, you're going to see person after person after person say, muscle weighs more than fat. You're just building muscle. Okay, well, first of all, it takes 7 days to build muscle, to even start to build muscle. Second of all, you're not going to see muscle gains on the scale for a long time. So if you started gaining weight in 3 or 4 days after exercising, that is not muscle. It doesn't mean stop. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It's just not muscle yet. You know, muscle gains come from increased protein, increased calories, and strength training. And that all takes time. If you even at the end of the year gain 5 pounds of muscle, that's phenomenal. So let's just dispel some myths and just settle it that number one, muscle does not weigh more than fat. muscle takes up far less space than fat, and a pound of fat is going to kind of look like this, and a pound of muscle is going to look like this. But a pound is a pound on the scale. So let's get that out of the way. So the reason why your scale is going up, Kim, when you first started exercising is because when we exercise and we put stress on our muscles, it's actually damaging them. And the body is like a self-cleaning oven. It's a self-healing being. So immediately, whenever there's damage in the body, it doesn't matter if we cut our finger on a piece of paper or if we, damaged our biceps and triceps during some lifting, the body is going to want to heal itself. And the way that it does that is it rushes a ton of blood and a ton of fluid to the injured area. And then through different cellular mechanisms, it helps heal. And that scar tissue that eventually builds after damage and healing and damage and healing, that is actually how we build and grow our muscles. Essentially, I mean, that's the very watered down version of it. But it does require that initial rush of fluid. And so you're actually retaining fluid during those first few days, especially if you haven't exercised for quite a while. It's going to freak your body out a little bit. And it may even want to hang on to some calories for a little bit too, because it doesn't really know what's going on. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Our body wants things to stay the same. It loves a state of homeostasis where everything is balanced and everything just stays hunky-dory. And when we go and mix things up with either exercise or diet or both, it kind of freaks out a little bit and doesn't know what's happening, and it wants to hang on to things for a little bit. So just know time and consistency, both with diet and exercise, will always produce results. And don't be worried about your timeline. This is the rest of your life. I'm hoping you've chosen a way of eating, and if you are choosing to fast, a fasting program that is doable for life. So don't be in a hurry to finish the rest of your life. I'm trying to lengthen mine. I don't know about you. So time is not of the essence here. And it's a great question and an often asked one. So for our third question, Sue wants to know, what is a good alternative to protein meals if you don't eat a lot of meat? So number one, I would ask you, why are you not eating meat? If you're choosing not to for religious or spiritual reasons, or if you're choosing not to because of, if you're an animal lover or something, I don't know how to word that any other way. But, there are reasons why people abstain from meat. And if people are doing it for financial reasons, I'd like to talk about that maybe in another video too, because there are definitely cost-effective ways that you can still get your meat in. So that's another video for another time. But my first initial reaction to reading your question was why? Do you just not like it? Do you need to hide it somehow or provide a different texture? Or is it because you've chosen to be vegan or pescatarian or vegetarian? So again, I don't know this about you, so I don't know if you are a lacto-ovo vegetarian, if you are a pescatarian, if you're a flexitarian, if you're straight up vegan. So my advice would be, not knowing how you eat, alternative sources that just aren't meat, that didn't come from an animal, with the exception of fish and eggs, which I would absolutely encourage. If you just don't like steak or don't want steak, go for the fish, go for the eggs for sure. But some non-meat alternatives that are great are non-GMO tofu. It's very important that you see what kind of tofu you're eating, because that can be far more detrimental to your health than anything else if you're eating some garbage ingredients. But there is good quality tofu out there, and beans are also another source. So keep in mind, you're not going to be getting the essential amino acids. There's 22, but 9 we need to get from our diet, and they come from meat sources. So if you're not doing something to outsource those, you could get sick. So just make sure you eat a variety, and that you make sure that you're hitting true proper protein levels and amino acid levels. And if you need help with that, let me know. Sarah wants to know, when it comes to meats, are there some that are better than others? For example, like with bacon, is turkey bacon better than regular bacon? Absolutely not. No. And turkey is kind of a big myth. People think like, oh, I ate turkey burger instead of regular burger. Okay, well, you probably got a lot of fillers, a lot of added yucky ingredients, because whenever we're trying to take something that is one kind of meat and turn it into another, there's going to be a lot of funky chemical stuff that's going to be going on. And not all chemicals are bad. You're a chemical, I'm a chemical, air is a chemical, water is a combination of chemicals. So it's not that chemicals are bad, but not all chemicals are good either. So the less we mess with our food, the better. I always want to encourage you to be eating food in its whole natural state as much as possible. that is going to give you the least amount of opportunity for a chemist in a lab to come in and mess up your food somehow. That's just always best. So we always operate with the good, better, best theory with all things. And that also applies here. So, it's good to eat meat in its whole state. It's better to maybe eat some that don't have nitrates in them, or maybe have minimal nitrates. And it's best to do it right, getting that bacon right off the stomach of the pig, that would be best. So, but it is not good to mess with food too much. And that's what happens. And it really is, it just comes right down to marketing, guys. The diet and fitness industry makes billions of dollars a year, as does the food industry, and they want you buying their stuff. So they want to go and mess things up and make very unnatural things and make you think that you're doing yourself a favor diet-wise. So no, absolutely not. If you want bacon, eat real bacon and eat it locally sourced from a farmer if you can. Use the good, better, best scenario there. So let's see here. Christine says, are there more benefits the longer you fast? So now we come to the part where maybe half of you are going to want to leave. Not really, but I haven't done the deep dive with you all yet into extended fasting because we're in the middle of a 30-day intermittent fasting for beginners guide. I didn't want to, and I don't want to overwhelm you with the whole world of fasting, because there's a whole big world of fasting out there besides a 16 and 8 intermittent fast. And it's a great world, but it can be an overwhelming world. So I've tried to, in the whole month that this group has been up and going, introduce you in baby steps. It is not appropriate for everyone to do an extended fast, but for some people, it can be amazing. It absolutely was part of my journey to losing 150 pounds. So I'm not going to tell you how, and I'm not even really going to get into why, but to just point blank answer your question. You asked a yes or no question. The answer is yes. There absolutely are benefits to doing an extended fast. And an extended fast is or a longer fast. The longer you fast, are there benefits? So intermittent fasting is anything from 0 to 24 hours. Once you go beyond the 24-hour method, you have now entered into the realm of extended fasting. And so very, very good things can happen during that. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. There's a right person and a wrong person for who that's appropriate to even do. But all that aside, just so that you know, just a little bit of a breakdown, like at 10 hours, we know autophagy is starting, and that's where our body eats itself, and that's where cell turnover happens and the rapid fire cell turnover happens. At 12 hours, we've now entered fat burning zone. For that reason alone, every second after that 12 hours, it's right around hour 12 that we start accessing our own fat for energy, our own stored energy, which is our fat, because we've blown through all of our glycogen stores. And so now we need to go for an alternate fuel source. So it's either going to be food or ourselves. And if you don't feed yourself after 12 hours from your last meal, you're going to turn on your own stored energy or your fat. So from 12 hours on, we're burning our own fat. Ketone production is starting to go up because ketones are the byproduct of our own fat metabolism. Mental clarity is going to start to go way up. Energy can go up. That's why some people have a hard time sleeping in the beginning when they first start an intermittent fasting regime. But then beyond 24 hours, at about 24 hours and then peaking at 48 hours, human growth hormone factor, it doesn't peak, but it actually really jumps at 48 hours. Human growth hormone, which is known as the fountain of youth, that starts to really go up, 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 up. At 72 hours, we're going to see autophagy peak, and then it backs off for a little bit. And then it does actually, if you continue on with like an 120-hour fast or something, it really goes up again. At 72 hours plus, we actually start creating new stem cells. I mean, this is amazing. We've seen, like with cancer research and things, the very, very positive benefits of extended fasting. Not saying you should do it. Let's not even really go there too much right now, but just know like your immune cells really start to refresh themselves too. And it really is hitting like a cellular restart, hitting that button for your body. So yes, very, very good things can happen with a longer fast, an extended fast. You're going to hear, and the reason why I have waited to talk about this so much is because people are like, oh, that's disordered eating. You're just starving yourself. I don't think it's healthy. My advice is if you don't know about extended fasting, don't speak on it. And that's one thing I really try to be so cognizant of when I'm giving you advice. I don't know everything. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. And I always try to only speak within the knowledge that I have. And we try to speak beyond what we actually know. We can be giving misinformation, disinformation, harmful information, or just people take whatever they hear on the internet as the gospel and they don't go any further with it. So we could actually be holding people back from very healthy mechanisms for weight loss or for health, or we could be hindering people. So anyways, in a nutshell, yes, good things are going to happen with more fasting, but there's a right and wrong way to do it, and it's not for everyone. So that was kind of a long answer for that. Sorry. All right. Laura wants to know, will your weight loss stall eventually after intermittent fasting for so long, even if you still have a lot of weight to use? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it goes right back to homeostasis. Our body wants to stay the same weight. If you're very overweight, you have a larger production of lipoprotein, or LPL. I'm trying to think of the word of it. Sorry. It's late tonight and it's been a long day. But anyways, basically when we are obese or overweight, our body wants to maintain that. And when we start lowering the set point, that freaks our body out a little bit and it just stalls everything out for a little while. You know, everybody thinks that weight loss looks like this. You just go down, 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 and it just remains linear. When in fact, weight loss looks like this. You know, when I look at my weight over the past 4 years charted out, it just looks like zigzags. And, you know, overall over the year, it did trend down, but there were definitely ups and downs along the way and a lot of this. So plateaus are normal. Stalls are normal. A true stall/plateau is no loss of pounds and no loss of inches for an entire constant 6 weeks. And so people get impatient around a week and a half. Be like, oh, I haven't lost any weight for a week and a half. I'm in a stall. Well, no, you're not. You know, that's not a true stall anyway. You're just at a pause. And so if you've gone 6 full weeks with consistent, impeccable dieting and eating and exercising and sleep and water and everything, then we can maybe talk and look at that diet. And yes, absolutely. Sometimes our bodies will get used to a certain fasting regime. Some people who do OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, every single day for a year, their body will get used to that. So it's always good to shake things up. It's good to take a break from fasting for a while. And then sometimes it might be good to throw in one of those extended fasts that we just talked about, or to have a higher calorie day and a lower calorie day. You know, or to increase energy, to have a couple of days of cardio, or then a rest and no exercise at all, and then go right back in with strength training with heavy weights. There's a bunch of ways that we can shake things up. And that's usually what is needed after a true stall or plateau happens. And it's totally normal, guys. I'm telling you, on my way down 150 pounds, there were so many weeks and oftentimes months that I didn't lose anything. And it's because my body was lowering its set point, and then it was happy there. It wanted homeostasis, and then I'd have to shake things up and lower that set point. And, you know, we're just slowly always trying to turn the thermometer down on our body that way, but kick the metabolism thermometer up. And it's just normal. It's expected. What wouldn't be normal is for you to continually lose weight every single week, effortlessly. That's what would be weird. So just know that yes, your body's going to get used to it. Yes, you are going to have to switch things up. Yes, you are going to have to take a break from fasting sometimes. And yes, that's also the importance of the 80-20 rule. That 20% treat day, because we don't say cheats, this is for life and we don't cheat on ourselves. It's because those are typically going to be higher calorie days, and they are foods that we do not eat normally. And so when we eat them and just have that little exposure and then go right back to our routine, our body almost rewards us sometimes with some weight loss on the scale. A lot of people will say, oh my goodness, I ate chips last night and I was down 2 pounds today. You know, I'm not saying that always happens. I'm not recommending that as a true surefire way for weight loss, but it's not uncommon either. So sometimes a little bit, eating something a little different or having a different fasting window or not fasting at all for a couple of days will just shake things up and we'll drop a little bit of weight. Kim wants to know, are any Greek yogurts better than others, or is it just preference with brands? So for me personally, what I always recommend to my clients is, number one, with Greek yogurt, do not go for fat-free and do not go for low fat. The good thing is when you eat a high quality yogurt with regular full fat dairy, number one, it's not going to cause you to gain weight, and people need to stop fearing fat. And the best research that we've seen lately says that people who incorporate full fat dairy into their diets actually lose more and keep it off longer than people who go for the fat-free things. And number two, you're not going to be exposed to all those gross fillers like cellulose gums and starches and thickeners and sugar, because when you take the fat out, it's gross. So they have to put a bunch of stuff back in it to convince you that it's not gross, but it is. So that's the first thing I look for. Do not go for low fat or no fat. Go for full fat, just normal yogurt. And the second thing is no sugar added. This is the time where you can control the quality of the ingredients. You can decide if you want to add monk fruit or stevia or erythritol or Splenda or honey, whatever you want. I don't recommend a lot of even natural sugars. And we know now agave nectar, I don't know if you saw what I posted in the group. I mean, that is garbage. That's worse for your liver than high fructose corn syrup is. So it's right off the charts of the glycemic index scale, and it's just not good for you. So, or the fructose scale, sorry, it makes you think it's okay because it's low in GI, but it's actually super high in fructose. And that just blows your liver rate up, gives you non-alcoholic fatty liver syndrome almost faster than pop's going to. So no sugar, you control the ingredients, you decide. I'm not your babysitter, I'm not your gatekeeper. You decide how you want to sweeten your yogurt, or if you want to sweeten your yogurt. And then the last thing, and it's a big one still, is protein grams. So if you have 3 full fat, no sugar added yogurts in front of you, look at the protein content, because that's what's going to be the determining factor for me. If I have 3 that are made with just full fat dairy and they don't have any sugar or any artificial sweeteners in them, but one has 12 grams of protein, one has 19, and one has 14, I'm going for number 19. You always want to go for the highest protein, but not at the expense of compromising the fat or the sugar. So you could have a full sugar yogurt that has 140 grams of protein per serving, but if it's full sugar, I'm passing on it because it's not worth the trade-off. So let's see here. Number 8, Paula said, can you eat too little? So Paula didn't really expand on this. I don't know if she means like in general in life or during your eating window. So I'll maybe just speak to both of those a little bit. So yes, of course. I mean, our body needs fuel to survive. And although the longest fast on record was over a year, and a gentleman did it with supervision, and he only had water and electrolytes for over a year, and he lost a couple 100 pounds. I mean, he was morbidly obese, and he did this with doctor supervision. So that's an extreme though. So I just wanted to say, like, you can, and he didn't die. He actually really healed himself completely of his obesity and many obesity related diseases. But for you folks in my group and potential future clients, yes, you need to know you can eat too little. As always, you need to pay attention to your hunger cues and your satiety cues. If you haven't checked out my hunger scale yet, which rates hunger on 0 to 4, that's very, very important, because when you're a 1 or a 2, you don't need to eat. But if you're a 3 or 4, you absolutely do need to eat. So obviously, yes, you can eat too little. And what's going to happen if you eat too little frequently enough, your body's going to think it doesn't have as much fuel coming in, and it's not going to go into starvation mode. That's actually the boogeyman of the weight loss world, and it's absolutely the boogeyman of the fasting world. Starvation mode is a myth. So let's just get that out of the way right now. However, you still need nutrients, you still need sustenance, and you need fuel. And the best way to lose weight is to fuel your body properly and to be getting that full spectrum of essential fatty acids and essential amino acids with your protein. And you want to be building muscle. So it's really important to be eating protein so that you can encourage muscle growth, so that you do burn more calories at rest. So if you're just eating like 2 saltine crackers and calling it good for the day, you're really not doing yourself any favors, because not all weight loss is fat loss. You don't want to be tapping into your muscle stores and, atrophying your muscles. And with long periods of not eating, followed by short little improper eating, going long periods again, you are going to get into atrophy. And so when people do extended fast, again, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And you can do it in a way that you're not going to be tapping into your muscle stores. But in the end, for these little short under 24-hour ones, you really don't need to worry about it too much. And really, if you're not hungry, don't eat. If you have over 15 pounds to lose, and if you've got more like 50 to 100 pounds to lose, you really don't need to worry about eating if you're not hungry in a 24-hour window. You just don't. But, that clock resets every 24 hours. And if you're doing intermittent fasting, you do need to refeed in between. And that's why it is intermittent, because you have fasting hours and you have feeding hours. So number 9, Giselle wants to know, when you felt like giving in, how or what did you do to stay the course? And I guess a lot of things. Sometimes I would just pray and I would just be like, I need some help here, Lord. And I'm a Christian. Everybody knows this. And so I would pray for strength when I didn't feel like I had strength on my own. I would also go for sources of motivation. Motivation wanes. If you try to think you're going to be motivated the entire time you're on this journey, nobody is motivated 100% of the time. That's why we need to establish habits, good daily habits, because it's habits that will sustain you, not motivation. Motivation's awesome on a Monday, and usually by Wednesday, there's no more motivation left. And by Friday, forget it. So, don't rely on motivation. That's setting yourself up for failure right away. Rely on making good, healthy habits that are just as normal to you as brushing your teeth in the morning and before you go to bed. And time and consistency are key. And so on the times that you really, really want to quit, that's when you need to self-reflect. Hopefully you're journaling, because I recommend that highly. But hopefully you remember your why. Why did you want to do this? And what's going to happen if you stop? If you quit and you're just like, well, this is getting too hard, I don't want to do it anymore, and you just start eating your face off, where's that going to lead you? We know where that road goes. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. It's going to lead to obesity or morbid obesity, and then it's going to lead to all those obesity-related diseases. We know where that train goes, and we're getting off the crazy train. Remember, we're all about getting off the crazy train and doing doable, sustainable, for life ways of eating and fasting if you choose to incorporate that, so that this is doable. And that's also why we have the 80-20, because if you're getting it done 80% of the time, don't cheat yourself out of that 20%. You deserve it. And we're not dogs. We don't reward ourselves with food, but we know that massive restriction for the majority of people doesn't work long term. So giving yourself the grace to have something that is completely different than you eat 80% of the time is okay. And that will help sustain you long term. And the longer you do this, the less that you're even going to feel like you need to. Because again, we need to love 100% of the food we're eating. We need to love that 80% as much as the 20%. And if you're not, maybe that's why you want to quit. Or maybe that's why you feel like you can't do this. So go back to your why, assess what you're eating. And if it's feeling like a diet or overly restrictive, we need to talk about that. We need to change things up. So number 10 is from Angel. This is our last one, and this is a great one to end on because we go back to the beginning. She says, where do you start? So I don't know, Angel, if you meant where do you start intermittent fasting or where do you start this entire journey? So if it is where do we start this entire journey, my recommendation is right now. We start right now, and it starts with a decision. We decide that we do not want to remain feeling like crap, getting on and off the crazy train, yo-yo dieting, losing 20 just to gain back 30, buying new clothes all the time, or progressively gaining 5 or 10 pounds a year every year. And then after 10 years, we're 50 pounds overweight. We don't want to have those gut punching doctor's visits where we're told that we have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease or insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome or cancer or, a myriad of obesity related diseases. So that's where we start, is knowing that something needs to happen. A change needs to happen. And we need to start with a process that we know is doable for the rest of our lives, because otherwise we're hopping right aboard the crazy train again. And that is not what Coach Kathy's all about. So I do have a method, and I'm working on getting the kinks worked out of that method and composing it in a way that it is doable for me to present to you. But if you've been around here even a little bit, or if you hang around here long enough, you're going to see there's underlying themes that I keep reiterating, and they are part of my method. So without letting the whole cat out of the bag, because it's not really ready to be let out yet, But good places to start are deciding, number one, whether you want to fast or you don't want to fast. If you don't want to fast, you don't have to. That is not always going to be a mandatory component to following the Coach Kathy method. I recommend it to certain people, but it's not like you have to fast or you're good luck with this. You're just going to be obese forever. It's always going to be important, no matter what, that you get good quality sleep. That is where fat loss happens. That's where healing happens. That's where cortisol gets lowered. That's where muscle growth happens and muscle repair happens. So sleep is always going to be important. Drinking your water is always going to be important. And stopping at enough and not eating until stuffed is always going to be important, regardless of whether you're doing Weight Watchers or Noom or intermittent fasting or keto or low carb or calorie counting. I'm not saying I recommend all those things, but no matter what, you never want to eat to the point that you're stuffed. So always be paying attention to your satiety cues and your hunger cues. And then simply don't eat if you're not hungry. Because you are paying attention to your hunger cues, you're going to know if you're hungry or not. If you're not hungry, don't eat. It's really simple that way. We need to stop overcomplicating things. It doesn't need to be this white-knuckled, restrictive, timed out, have your phone going off to remind you to eat. Pause, because there's always a but, and my buts are big. This does not apply to you if you're a bariatric in that box of your first 1 to 12 months. You actually do need to set a timer, and you can eat too little, and you do need to set yourself reminders to eat. But if that little box does not apply to you, it doesn't apply, and you don't need to eat if you're not hungry. And we need to stop eating when we're not hungry, because people tell us we need to hit our macros, and other people are going to say that, you're going to go into starvation mode and you need to eat every hour to boost your metabolism. No. So hopefully these questions, it's a lot. These questions and answers, I could go on for a while. And on that note, I'm going to be starting a podcast too. I really want to have cat chats like we're having right now that are right around a half hour. I want to have little daily pop-ons that I just give you some motivation or some knowledge or even a quick recipe. But there are times we do need to do the deep dive, and that's more appropriate for like a video podcast or even a regular podcast. I'll probably be videotaping myself while I'm doing my podcast, so you can either watch and listen, or you can just listen to me when you're driving in the car. You're going to see a lot of Kathy in the future, and a lot of Coach Kathy. And on that note, if you like this, please again, hit subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. It helps me get out into YouTube's algorithm so more people know about this and more people can get off the crazy train. And it just allows me to provide you with more content too, because if I'm growing, then that encourages me to keep going too. So a lot of this depends on you. So if you like this and you like what you see, share it with your friends and family. Join the Down 150 Pounds with Kathy, Coach Kathy on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram, and I'm also new to TikTok. I'm trying everything for you guys. And let me know what you'd like to see for future video content too. If you really like these questions and answers, or if you think a podcast is a good idea, let me know. I love feedback, and I really don't feel like I get enough from you guys. So if you've made it this far, get me a comment down below and let me know what you think. And if you have other questions, write them down below, message me on Facebook or into the Facebook group. Just let me know, and I'm going to do my best to help you get all the resources and answer all the questions and provide all the recipes that I humanly can, because I want you to be as successful as I have. I want you to be delivered from obesity-related diseases like I have, because guys, it's awesome on this side. Healthy is better than skinny. Healthy and strong. There's no drug. There's money can't buy what this feels like. And I want you to know how good it feels, because it's awesome. And you deserve it as much as I do. Oh, getting emotional here. Anyways, you're awesome. Thanks for checking in, and hope that you like the answers to these questions. And I hope I see you real soon. Thanks. Bye.